Hello friends, welcome back to my channel, and today we are back with another exciting tutorial. So this will be a Splunk tutorial for beginners, and there has been a lot of queries and a lot of requests on how to troubleshoot Splunk issues. So we have done a lot of tutorials like how to set up Splunk and writing queries and all those things, but there was a request like if in a real productive scenarios they may face some issues with Splunk environment, how it can be troubleshooted. So in that cases, I just wanted to show you some of the tips, or what are the log files, what kind of indexes, what kind of queries you can use, what kind of extra tools like btool, which you can use it for finding out some of Splunk issues, how you can analyze that. Okay, so some of the common Splunk issues which you come across or face would be like some data quality issues, or it can be a search performance or capacity issues, or some license issues with the Splunk, or it can be a server usage issues. So these are some common issues, or Splunk crash issues. There are a lot of more, but these are some common issues which you may come across. And the way how you can analyze, I will just show you some tips like what kind of log files you can go and check, and in which log file you can easily find out what. So let's check out on those things. So before I get into that, I would request you, like, if you are new to my channel or if you have not subscribed to my channel, click on the subscribe button. Also like my videos, share and comment. So let's get started with some of the common Splunk logs. Okay, so that would be the best place to start. So Splunk always write most of its contents into some of the logs or some of internal indexes, which we will see. So some of the common logs which you can go and identify these issues are like, one is log file is called splunkd.log, and another one is called metrics.log, and audit.log, and license usage.log, and Splunk access.log. There are other logs as well, but these are some major logs which you can be helpful. And out of this, splunkd.log is the main one, where it will write all the contents what splunkd is doing. And let's go and check out this where it will be saved. Since I'm using Windows machine and I have installed Splunk on this machine, this log files are located under your Splunk installation folder. So if it's under C program files Splunk, so that would be your Splunk home, and that would be under var log and Splunk. So that will be the place where the logs will be available. Where in the case of Linux installation, it would be like your Splunk home. For example, if your Splunk home is /opt/Splunk, then the log file will be under var log Splunk. So it will be /opt/Splunk or /var/log/Splunk. So that would be the place where all these logs file will be there. So as you can see, there are so much of log file here, right? So mainly what we want to do is we want to start with the splunkd.log. That would be the main log where the Splunk will write all its information. And you have other logs like splunkd access.log, which I mentioned. You have something called audit.log. You have metrics.log, license usage.log. So all these logs, there are other logs as well, but these are some major logs. Now if you go to this splunkd.log, as I mentioned, it will start writing all these activities, what it's doing, like splunkd starting, what is the system info, what is the system information, all those details. It's trying to put it here. You can see that, right? You can read through it when you want to find, and it will also tell you what it's trying to do with each Splunk about its indexing and all those things. So you can see it's the stanza which is looking for event log, right? And also it will be talking about the what file it's watching. So if I search for watch, so you can see if I search for watch, it will tell you like different files which is watching. So when Splunk is looking those files, it will watch those files, and if there is any changes, it will get that into the index as per our configurations, right? So that's how it'll be done. For example, I have Windows update.log, which I'm having it. See, you can see there is a log which is added into this. So it will be watching that file, and it's also writing, it's different kind of buckets, all those things. It's also look for CRC, right? So all those details will be available in this log. So it's not mandatory that you need to open this file and read through it. You can also directly access this from your Splunk instance. You can write a query and you can find out those information here. So when we talk about splunkd.log, which I mentioned, splunkd.log provides an overview of what Splunk is doing. So all the events are logged for all the Splunk components in this splunkd.log, and as I mentioned, it's available in this folder like Splunk Home, which is in Windows it should be under program file Splunk, whereas Linux it should be the place where you install var log Splunk, right? And this is a query which you can run. Okay, and I'll show you what we get. And if you see, yeah, this is a sample which I showed, like in the splunkd.log, it watches the file which is we want to index. So if you have a scenario like your file is not getting indexed, the best thing is you go and check in the log where you have the file is getting watched. And also if you have a forwarder which is sending the file, you can also check the Splunk d-log in the forwarder client, so that you can see what is happening from there as well. So if I run this query over here on the Splunk instance, you can see I'm running on the source, and if I run it, you can see it will give you the whole components what we are having inside the splunkd.log. So it's give you a bunch of details what is done. So if you see the bucket rollover, if I check it, it will tell you all the components or the logs based on that. So you can see a roll to the hotdb bucket for from this one, right? And you can see here finished moving hot to warm. So all those informations are written in this log file, like how the buckets are moved from hot to warm and all those things. So you can see all the details over here when I just search for that component, right? So similar way you can check what the components. So it's just a simple way, like you just put a stats on the count by component and you will be getting the details. So it's not mandatory that you need to go to the splunkd.log and then you search it there. So before we go into the other log files, I also want to show you like some of the indexes which will be very useful for analyzing. So some of the index like _internal and _audit. So these are two main indexes other than the other indexes which you will create. These are system indexes which will be very useful for your analysis or troubleshooting a lot of Splunk issues. So one of a simple query, like if you put the _internal and if you give the stats by source type and source, we can get some information from there. Let's see that. So if I go and put the source and source type, so it will give us the details on what are the contents we have it in the _internal. So you can see there are different kind of source type and where the source the file is coming. For example, splunkd is the source type where it's have multiple log files getting returned. So splunkd.log is one, utility metrics, license usage, health.log. So all these things are written by splunkd, right? And we have UI access, which is the Splunk UI access.log, and we have config, we have MongoDB scheduler, right? So there are web access, which will be web access.log. So the different kind of log where it is written by which component, it's give you the detail using this query. If I want to simplify it a little bit more for splunkd case alone, so if I go like index internal source type is splunkd and source with the splunkd.log, because there are different logs, let's see what we get from output from there. So this should be similar like what you go and search in the splunkd.log, because we are finding all the details for splunkd.log, right? So now whatever we see in that log file, we are going to get it here. For example, reading the file, all those details, we will have it here, right? And you'll have different filters over here, like let's see, we have source type, right? We have file, so you can see different kind of files, you can filter with that, right? So if I go and select one of the file here, you can see it will show you that file alone. So for example, if I go and change this to Windows update.log, So you can see if I run with this Windows update.log, we get the logs based on that, right? So if you see the file is watched no, at this time, right? And also parsing the content because it's coming from this stanza of our configuration, right? So that's what it's trying to do. So you can change the value from 24 hours to which hour, so then you'll get more details as well. So there are different ways you can simply find out which log is in splunkd. So it's not that you have to open the splunkd.log from the location and you read through it, so you can easily filter it using your Splunk search as well. And the same way, like, you can do it for metrics logs as well. So let's find what we get there. So if I go and search for metrics, so you can see like we get a lot of output here as well. So metrics, you can see there are more metrics like throughput, instantaneous KB, right? So different other parameters, you get it from metrics. So if you talk about metrics, this metrics log is where the Splunk stores all the information of various group of Splunk activities, such as like throughputs, queue sizes, response time, job counts. So this kind of whole information is getting stored on the metrics.log. So if you want to analyze some of those, you need to check these logs, metrics.log. So that's why I just want to show you. Now there is also other way, like all this information, if you see, it's getting stored to the index_internal, right? So if you don't want to search whole information, if you want to get some like errors or warnings, you can even query with that kind of query in the Splunk search. You can also advance that if you want to specifically do for splunkd.log, so you can do that, and you can table it with some log message and all those things. So this is a sample query which you can run, so I will just run it and show you what we get. So if I run this query for error or warning, so you can see we get some output, so where the message will be based on that. So you can see the search has been cancelled, right? So that's one of error message. You can see we have error, right? So it's giving here, if you see, it's a warning message, right? The message search has been cancelled. So based on that those content also, we can do some search. So these are some samples I just want to show you, like what you can make use of this kind of queries to find some output. So you can see host, component, the level, warning level, info, error, this which server it's happening. So this kind of queries you can write when you have some issues. So based on what is, if you want to find some error messages or warning message, you can try to run this kind of queries, and you will get some kind of input from this which you can analyze it. So similar like metrics logs or splunkd.log, we have something called audit.log. So if you want to find some information about any user activities such as logins or search run and all those things, the audit.log is the best place. So this audit.log is not for web-based UI login activities. This audit is for other user activities. Okay, so we'll also talk about, there's another called audit access.log, which will be mainly used for UI login things. Okay, so license usage is also another log which you can make use of it to find out how much index, the volume of bytes per license, indexes, source type, those kind of things are happening using license usage.log. And as I mentioned, splunkd access.log, this gives you the details of splunkd through UI is logged in, like Splunk web, CLI, or post, get, delete, search. So when you do it through the Splunk UI login, those things will get stored into the splunkd access.log. Okay, so you can see there are other scenarios also, like you may face some issues, like you have a Splunk search which is getting skipped or something, right? So if you want to get the details, like what kind of searches are getting skipped, you can use some queries like this, like _internal, and the source type should be scheduler, and the status like skip. So if you are having skip searches, you can find it with this. Let's see what we get. So let me run this search. Okay, so you can see I don't have any output at all because I don't have any searches which is skipped. So I'll just remove the status. So let's see what we get. So I have the details about the searches now. So I have source type scheduler, and you can see completed reading history. So those kind of things is there. Now if I go to the status, I have only status called success. So that means the searches are success. But if you have some skip searches, you can use the status equal to skipped. Then you will see what are the searches are skipped. Then based on that, you will be able to take your actions based on that. You may also want to analyze some of like concurrent searches and all those things. So in this case, you can use this search, like where you have internal source type metric, and the group is like search concurrent search. So that will also give you some detail, like how much of concurrent searches we can do, those kind of things. So let me do that search over here. Okay, so I will do a search for with this metrics.log. So you can see we have search concurrency, right, and the metrics, so minimum queue. So those kind of information is available in this search. And because what we are trying to do is we are making use of the underscore internal and the source types, right? So we are using mainly splunkd.log or and the metrics.log. I think we have also use scheduler, so different kind of source we have it, and using that we can make use of different kind of events, the log files over here itself. So it's not like you have to open the files manually on the server and do it. So this is also a easiest way, so you can write down your queries and you can filter it based on that. So other scenario will be like you may face like your Splunk instance get crashed, right? So you can use this query, like where source type will be splunkd crash.log, and it will tell you like how much time the Splunk instance has been crashed. You may also want to find out like when the Splunk instance has been restarting, or when the server was restarted last time, the Splunk instance. So you can use the splunkd.log with the statement like splunkd starting. So let's see what the output we get from this. So I will just search for splunkd starting first, because if you want to check when your Splunk has been restarted. So if you see in last 24 hours this my Splunk instance has been restarted at this time. So it was splunkd starting message, right? If I change it for whole time, let me see, it may give me more informations. So you can see it has done three times the restart, right? So this is a new setup, so it's not too old. So so it has been only just restarted 3 times. So this is also a way you can find out when the Splunk was restarted. If you see this other search where we talk about splunkd crash.log, I don't think I will have any data here because it has not been crashed anywhere. So we don't have that source type at all. So but if you have this file, because if your Splunk has been crashed, so you'll have this source type, then you should be able to do this search. Okay, so let's find out some more better information other than this tools like the search queries which we are using. So what we understood is like we have different kind of log files. So mainly when there is a data mismatch, you have to go to splunkd.log and you have to find out what data is getting indexed, and also you need to check the forwarder log so you can see what forwarder is sending and what splunkd on the indexer is getting. So if that matches, yeah, fine. If there is a discrepancy, then the data is not reaching to the indexer at all, right? And you may also see there will be reason like the deployment server is not getting configured correctly. That's why the Splunk configurations are not getting reflected there. So that kind of scenario happen. Sometimes the CRC file, it's checking the CRC, it may not see any changes. So you'll have to tweak something like there are other commands available in the stanza where you can add where the CRC values. So you can by default it comes around like 256. You can change a little bit so that you can search a little bit more of the file. So you have to be very careful when you work on that, so it can reindex the whole data again. So you need to read through the documentation and check with Splunk support. You can raise Splunk tickets if you have any queries. If you have a enterprise license, so you can raise to them and they'll be able to support. And also you can have any license issues and everything, sometimes you have to go back to them. So another interesting tool which Splunk is having is called Splunk btool, which will be very helpful. So you can run the command like Splunk help btool, which is in the Windows. If it's in the Linux, you can put // in the location of our Splunk bin, and then you have Splunk help btool. And let's see what we get when you run this in our machine. So I'm inside the C program file Splunk bin where the Splunk will be available. Okay. So if you see, if I run Splunk help btool, it give you quite some information like what are different kind of stanzas, or you can do arguments with this. So you can see btool config file list, bcheck, right? And you have other optional parameters which you can use, right? So different ways you can use this tool. So let me show you some of simple examples. So if I want to list all the indexes, this is one of way you can do it, like Splunk btool indexes.list. So it will list you all the details about the indexes. Then you can filter it using grep in Linux, or in maybe in Windows, like a find string, something like that. So you can filter it. So let me show you with this command. Okay. So if you see, like, when I run this command, it has given a complete list of the indexes. For example, it's _audit, which is index, and it's giving a huge bunch of information about that specific index, and then it will go to the next index. So if you see, we have _introspection, which is another index, and let me see, you have _internal. So you have a whole list of indexes it's showing up, and it will tell you what the complete information about. A lot of information is there. What you require, you have to filter it. So I just wanted to show you, like, the btool gives different kind of. This is one or two example I'm just showing. You have to read through the documentation for btool. There are huge more options you have it. So and one more other example with btool, like you can also use it to search like saved searches list in that specific app. So if you see this, we are using btool app under the search, and we are using save searches list. So it will list you all the save searches. Let's see what we get. So if you see, if I run this command btool app search searches list, it will give you the different kind of searches, like errors in the last 24 hours, errors in the last hour, right? License usage. So similar way, like if you have served some kind of searches, it will give you the complete details when using this search query. So these are some example. Okay, so as I mentioned, the main way of analyzing the Splunk issues are using the log files, and also the indexes like _internal or _audit. You can write down your own queries. You can get the performance issues, or skip searches, or it can be concurrent searches issues, or the file is not getting indexed, or it can be any kind of scenarios. You just need to put what kind of data you need to analyze it, then you should be able to easily interpret it. So that is all for this tutorial. So next tutorial, maybe I will come up with the specific scenarios, but I have to make the kind of scenario, then I have to show you how to fix that. So that's a little bit complicated. So but I will try to find out that kind of tutorials in the upcoming tutorials. But for now, I'm logging off. So I would request you, like, if you are new to my channel, or if you're not subscribed, kindly subscribe to my channel for more videos, and also like my videos, share and comment. So thank you for watching.